Hey all, welcome to my channel Talebearing time. Today in this video, I want to simply tell the tale of William Shakespeare's The Winter's Tale. Continuity of part 1, let's get into the story. In part 1 last scene, Paulina was thus dragged away from the king, but she had left the baby behind. She hoped that as the king saw it beauty and innocent, he would change. As soon as Paulina had been taken away, Leontes called her husband, Antigonus. He ordered him to take the baby and take it on a ship and leave it in some lonely part of the country. Poor child, its own father was going to kill it. Antigonus picked up the baby and left. He was too scared to disobey the king, so he left immediately on a ship. When they were out at sea, suddenly a big storm started, and the ship lost its way in it. Meanwhile, the king had become tired of waiting for Cleomenes and Dion, who had gone to question the oracle at Delphos. He decided to have a public trial in front of all his subjects. He called Hermione to the court to decide her punishment. All the lords and subjects were also called to his court, and the Hermione was made to stand in front of them like a prisoner. "Let the trial begin," shouted the king. At that moment, Cleomenes and Dion entered the court. They had come back from Delphos with the answer from the oracle. Leontes was very sure that the oracle would call his wife guilty and unfaithful. He asked one of the lords to read it out to everybody. Cleomenes opened the scroll and read, "Hermione is innocent. Polixenes is a faithful friend. Camille is a loyal subject. Leontes is a jealous and cruel ruler, and he will be left without a successor if he does not find what he has lost." The king refused to believe the oracle. "The queen's friends have written this and are again tried to cheat me," he said, and ordered the trial to continue. Just then a man entered the court. "Wait, O king," he shouted. "Prince Mamilius has just died." He said he could not live without his mother. As soon as Hermione heard this, she fainted. Leontes too was very sad to hear the news. He began to feel very sorry for his queen and asked Paulina and the other ladies to take his wife away and help her recover. After some time, Paulina returned and told the king that Queen Hermione was dead. The king's sorrow was increased even more when he heard this. He now thought that it was his cruelty which had killed his wife and knew that she was innocent. He then knew that the oracle had been right, and that if he did not find his baby daughter, he would be left without a child. He decided to do everything he could in order to find his daughter. While all this was happening, the baby girl was still alive. The storm has driven the ship to the west of Bohemia. Antigonus, of course, did not know this and decided to leave the baby there. He took the baby in its fine clothes and jewels and left it in the woods near the shore. He also wrote the baby's name and the name of her parents on a piece of paper and pinned it to the baby's frock. As Antigonus was going back to the ship, he was catched by a bear. The bear tore him to pieces, thus pushing him for his cruelty. The baby's name was Perdita. She was founded by a poor shepherd. He was a kind man, so he took the little baby home. He and his wife decided to keep the baby as their own daughter. They also decided to go to another part of the country and begin a new life there. The shepherd sold some of the Perdita jewels and brought himself a new flocks of sheep, and soon became a wealthy shepherd. Many years went by, and Perdita grew up to become a very beautiful young girl. She looked as beautiful as her mother, and also had all the natural grace of a queen. Although Perdita was an uneducated girl who was only a shepherd's daughter, she was so beautiful and noble that she could have been a princess. Since the king of Bohemia had a son, his name was Florizel, and he was a handsome young man. One day, Florizel was hunting near the shepherd's house and he saw Perdita walking with her sheep. She looked so beautiful and queen-like that he fell in love with her immediately. As he wanted to meet this lovely girl, he decided to change his name and come there in disguise. Soon a simple young man called Dorizel started visiting the shepherd's house regularly. He was actually the prince Florizel. Now, Florizel's father, Polixenes, soon noticed that he was often going away from the palace. He wanted to know where Florizel was going. He sent some feast after his son one day and found out that Florizel was in love with a shepherd's daughter and was spending a lot of time with her. Polixenes decided to go himself to the shepherd's house he called Camille, his faithful subject, and both of them in the distance of poor old man left for the shepherd's house. When they reached there, they found that a party was going on. There were a lot of young men and women, and everybody was singing and dancing. The two old men were also welcomed to the party. Although it was very simple, there was a lot of good food, and everybody passing by the shepherd's house was being invited. After a while, Polixenes noticed his son in a corner. He was talking with a pretty young girl, and they do not look interested in the party at all. Polixenes decided to hear what they were speaking. So he went and stood a little closer to them. He was very surprised when he heard the way Perdita was speaking. She is not at all like a shepherd's daughter, he thought. She speaks like a queen. Camille had been watching the young couple, and he now came to Polixenes and said, "She is the queen of curd and cream. I have never seen anyone so beautiful, Your Majesty." Polixenes and Camille then went to meet the shepherd. "Who is that young man who is speaking to your daughter?" asked Camille. "His name is Dorizel. He comes here very often, and he said that he loves my daughter," said the shepherd. "If he can marry her, he is really lucky boy, for he would get a lot of things from her," continued the shepherd. He actually meant that the boy who married her would get the rest of her jewels. Polixenes then went up to his son and spoke to him. "Hello, young man. You have been talking so much that you have not eaten anything. If you love this girl so much, how come you have not given her even a small gift?" he asked Florizel. The young prince did not realize that he was speaking to his own father, the king. "Old sir, this lady does not want any gifts from me. She only wants my love, and that is in my heart," replied Florizel. Then, turning to Perdita, he continued, "Listening to me, Perdita. In front of these old gentlemen, I shall make you a promise. I love you very much, and I shall marry you." Hearing his son say this, Polixenes immediately removed his disguise and wrote, "You shall not marry her, Florizel. She is a cheap, low-born girl who is good only to run after the sheep." Polixenes then continued to call Perdita more rude names, and finally, ordering Camille to bring Florizel back, left the place in great anger. Everybody was very upset by what had happened. But Radita showed her loyal nature. I was not afraid of him. I wanted to tell him that was all or equal. The same sun which shines on him also shines on me. And my sheep, she said. Then she suddenly became very sad. Let's continue in part 3. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Thank you all.